Located at Holiday World is Thunderbird, which is a winged roller coaster built by Bolliger and Mabillard, or B&M for short. This ride is one that will take a lot of uphill walking to get to it, as it is at the very back of the park, and Holiday World is a very hilly park. The queue line is housed right under the station. The queue doesn't have super elaborate theming, however, it is pretty nice. It's pretty well shaded. There's multiple lanterns in the queue line, and they all start to flicker when the train is preparing to launch. While there are a lot of switchbacks in the queue, I've never had to wait in a long line to ride this, as this is always a station wait. When you arrive in the station, you notice that there are 5 rows to choose from. I don't really have any specific recommendations. If you are a rider of larger stature, rows number 2 and 3 have slightly longer safety seat belts, so people are able to fit slightly easier. Anyways, the ride has storage bins in the station, so you don't have to worry about buying a locker before you ride. Board the train and pull down on your vest restraint. The restraint will come down easily during the ride. While the restraint itself didn't really bother me, with the vest itself, which is really rare with a wing coaster, the lap bar portion of the restraint was extremely painful when it came down, and had me gritting my teeth in pain. The hard restraint rested right on my hip bones, which hurt a lot, and made me not really enjoy the ride. I did ride it multiple times that day, so you can't just tell me that I got a bad ride in the comments. Even with the painful restraint, I was able to bear the pain and focus on the layout and forces during the ride. Once the amazing ride operators dispatch you, you slowly depart out of the station. Stop for a few seconds and watch as some mist starts appearing in front of you, and you'll hear a low rumble of thunder before launching from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.5 seconds. The launch is pretty punchy, while at the same time being pretty gradual. Rise up to a 140 feet tall inland loop, which is not a super forceful element, but it's fun and pretty relaxing to go through. The next element is a 125 feet tall vertical loop, which is definitely the most intense part of the ride. I grayed out on this part almost every time I rode it. It was incredible. At first I didn't really like graying out when I rode Intimidator 305 at King's Dominion, but I've gotten used to it and I know how it feels now, and I've started to appreciate rides that make you gray out more. And this loop is amazing. Next, the ride will go into an overbank to the right and then to the left. While these elements aren't the most forceful or anything, it is really cool gliding through, and you also have some foot chopper effects with the supports, which makes you feel like your foot is about to hit the supports, even though they are still a few feet away. You're going to go into a 0G roll, which is super graceful, but the way that it banks into it is super painful with the restraint. With each ride, the lap restraint dug into my hip bone, making it almost unbearable. So I learned to brace myself for this element. Go over an airtime hill, which is kind of just filler, but it does give a nice break from the pain. Go through a little barn for theming, which hides the on-ride cameras inside. And then go into an upwards 270-degree helix to the left. Right after this helix is the final inversion, which is a slow inline twist, giving you plenty of hang time. This element was also one of the more painful elements of the ride. It hurt even worse than the 0G roll that I talked about earlier. Anyways, glide into the brake run, concluding the 3,035 feet long experience on Thunderbird. This ride is decently fun if you don't mind the restraint. In fact, the restraint is the only issue that I had with the ride. It was extremely painful and keeps this from being up there with the upper tiered roller coasters of Holiday World. It also makes it to where all of Holiday World's woodies are above this. If Holiday World is ever able to do something about the ride's restraints to change it, I think that I'd enjoy it a lot more, and might even go to ride Thunderbird a lot more during my visit to the park. The ride does have a very minor rattle, but it's nothing uncommon for B&M roller coasters. Of course, the outside seat is going to be slightly rougher than the inside seat, but the rattle is nothing super painful and you probably won't even notice it. This ride has an incredible layout with some forceful elements and some that deliver great hang time. If it weren't for the bad restraints, I'd be able to appreciate the ride a whole lot more. Would I recommend riding Thunderbird at Holiday World? I mean, absolutely. I make sure to ride it every time I visit the park, Even though it is a little painful, some of the ride is still fun, especially the launch and vertical loop. Again, brace yourself for the 0G roll and the inline twist, and you should be fine riding this. The ride is absolutely worth riding while you're at Holiday World, and if you can look past the restraints, you will love this thing. It also never really gets a line, like I've said, so it's pretty easy to lap this all day. Anyways, that's going to wrap up this review. I hope you have found it informative. Have a great day.